It's December 18th here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. Starting with investigations into President Yoon over his martial law order. Police investigating President Yoon's martial law order failed to search and seize a server stored in the presidential office's security office, with security officials blocking the raid. Yoon is also supposed to appear before the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials this morning following a summons, though it's unlikely that he will. The UN General Assembly adopted a resolution on North Korean human rights for the 20th straight year on Tuesday, while the U.S. slapped sanctions on 2 individuals and 1 entity for helping the reclusive regime launder illicit funds. The entire nation is feeling the coldest temperatures of this winter season, with the capital waking up to -5 degrees Celsius. The cold snap will linger until Thursday morning. As the probe into President Yoon's imposition of martial law continues, South Korean police made a new attempt on Tuesday to search the presidential office and obtain key evidence, but only to fail yet again. Our Peunji starts us off.
The special police team investigating President Yoon over his declaration of martial law attempted to raid the President's Security Service Center on Tuesday, but failed to get inside the building even with a search warrant. After a standoff of almost 8 hours at the gates as the security team refused to cooperate, the investigators left at around 6 p.m. when the search warrant expired. The police have been aiming to get hold of the Security Service Center's computer servers that contain records of phone calls, including those between President Yoon and the National Police Agency Commissioner General. President Yoon reportedly made 6 phone calls to the police chief on the night of the martial law declaration and ordered him to arrest lawmakers. This is the second time that the police have failed to conduct a successful raid of the presidential office. Investigators were also blocked by the presidential security team last Wednesday and obtained only a portion of materials through voluntary submission. Meanwhile, the Joint Investigation Team, a collaboration between the police, the Defense Ministry, and the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials, have also been struggling with its probe. The team reported that a summons was sent via express mail to President Yoon's official residence on Tuesday, but it went undelivered as the president refused to accept it and return the package. The summons notifies Yoon of a request for him to appear at the CIO's office on Wednesday morning for questioning on accusations of insurrection and abuse of power. The team said they would regard not receiving the package as the president's decision to not comply with a summons, and said they would review sending another summons request. Peunji, Arirang News.
So the president hasn't complied with any of these summons, but his legal team says he will appear at public hearings in court to assert his position that his martial law declaration does not make him guilty of insurrection. Yoon has more.
President Yoon will attend any public hearings for his impeachment review at the Constitutional Court, although his attendance is not mandatory. That is according to his lawyer Seok Dong-yeon on Tuesday, who said the president will confidently present his position in court if public hearings are scheduled, emphasizing that Yoon did not commit insurrection. Lawyer Seok, who is involved in the selection of Yoon's legal team, told reporters that from a legal perspective, the president is not concerned about insurrection charges, but because of the investigations, he will respond, likely to the trial phase. The lawyer emphasized that an insurrection is an action that is used to seize power, but a president is already in power. Therefore, the charges don't hold up legally. He stated that the focus should be on the opposition party's mismanagement of national affairs and violations of the Constitution. Lawyer Seok also outlined a 3-way approach to the legal response: the investigation, the impeachment trial, and the court proceedings. Additionally, he clarified that the defense teams for the insurrection investigation and the impeachment trial will be separate, as they are fundamentally different. Meanwhile, no additional comments were made regarding whether the president will attend for the prosecutor's summons over allegations of insurrection and abuse of power. He also emphasized the need for coordination between the various investigative agencies regarding the issue of attendance, noting that a statement will be made in the coming days once these matters are reviewed and finalized. Yoon, Arirang News.
In the meantime, the ruling and opposition parties are struggling to meet in the middle over the prospect of filling constitutional court vacancies ahead of the court's ruling on the president's impeachment trial. Our political correspondent Arirang reports.
Bipartisan tensions are escalating over the appointment of 3 vacant constitutional court justices for President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment trial. The disagreement focuses on whether acting President Han Duck-soo can make the appointments while President Yoon's duties are suspended following the passage of the impeachment motion. Ruling People Power Party acting chairman and floor leader Kwon Sung-dong argued on Tuesday that currently appointing constitutional court justices is beyond the authority of an acting president.
The acting president can appoint constitutional court justices when the presidency is vacant, but not when the president's duties are suspended.
However, main opposition Democratic Party floor leader Park Chan-dae emphasized that Yoon's impeachment trial should proceed under a 9-member constitutional court. Park countered Kwon's remarks, saying there was no issue with the acting president making appointments as the assembly recommends the justices and the acting president only approves them.
Claiming that an acting president can't make appointments during the president's suspensions is mere wordplay. The PPP should stop delaying procedures and quickly agree to set a date for the confirmation hearings.
The National Assembly Speaker and floor leaders of the rival parties met Tuesday afternoon to discuss the matter, but failed to reach an agreement, with Kwon and Park only reaffirming their differences. The court currently has only 6 justices, with 3 vacancies unfilled since October due to a failure by the rival parties to agree on appointments. In December, the DP proposed Jeong Kye-sun, chief judge of the Seoul Western District Court, and Ma Eun-hyuk, a senior judge on the same court, as candidates, while the PPP recommended attorney Jo Han-chang. The DP is pushing to hold confirmation hearings for these candidates at the National Assembly next Monday and Tuesday, aiming to pass a confirmation motion during a plenary session next Friday. However, the PPP said that holding a plenary session needs to be discussed again, questioning whether it was appropriate to hold the confirmation hearing. Currently, just 1 judge is needed to reject the impeachment. However, if the 3 new judges are appointed in time to review and rule, it will take 4 judges to dismiss the impeachment. 신하영, Arirang News.
So, according to President Yoon's legal team, Yoon will be in court for his impeachment trial, which hints that he will actively defend himself, saying that his martial law order did not amount to insurrection. Let's turn to Professor Cho Hee-kyung for more. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, President Yoon, let's say President Yoon does attend public hearings in court, which is highly likely. That will be the first time that any South Korean president has faced a constitutional court. Is that correct?
In person, yes. We've obviously had 2 other cases of impeachment trials in the past, in the case of Roh Moo-hyun and also in the case of Park Geun-hye, but neither of them actually attended in person at the Constitutional Court for their trials. This time, President Yoon has said that he will be attending in person. I guess that he has a very strong belief in his persuasive powers as a legal orator, and that he could probably, he's the best person to defend himself, possibly.
Right, so it'll be another historic moment for President Yoon to be in court to defend himself. Now, the thing is, the Constitutional Court says his impeachment trial, though, won't be televised live. Now, when do cases get aired and when do they not?
The general rule is that the cases, the actual hearing doesn't get aired, but the trial is open to the public. So if you wanted to, you can actually go to the Constitutional Court and attend the trial and witness it. Basically watch the trial going on in person. Also, the recordings, I mean, it's all videotaped, and the videos are available on Constitutional Court website. So you can go and watch all of the trials that were held actually at the court online. But what will happen is that the final judgment and the explanation of how the judgment was reached, so the final day of judgment will actually be televised live, I believe, and that's what happened in the other 2 impeachment cases as well.
Well, Professor Jo, then are there specific reasons as to why the case is not being aired live this time for President Yoon?
Well, the general principle is that it doesn't get televised live anyway. And I understand that Yoon has requested it to be televised live, but that's not the normal rule. And I think there's also concern that Yoon might use it as a platform, basically, to appeal once again to his diehard supporters and possibly try to incite them into some sort of, insurrection movement like Trump did in January 6th riots in Washington. And so I think the court is also wary of something like that happening. So I think that's the reason why I believe they're not allowing it to be televised live. But it doesn't mean that you cannot actually go and attend the hearings if you want it yourself.
I see. Let's talk about the investigations zeroing on President Yoon. Now, multiple teams are investigating Yoon. Now, he is yet to appear. Previous summons requested by the prosecutions or the joint investigation team. The question is, do you think he'll appear for the second summons request?
My understanding is that he hasn't even accepted the delivery of summons and even the statement of claim regarding the impeachment resolution and request to provide an answer of his own sent by the Constitutional Court. So he really has to be careful because that in itself can constitute grounds of showing unconstitutionality or unconstitutional conduct on the part of the president. That's what happened in Park Geun-hye's case. The Constitutional Court, among other things, said that her failure and repeated refusal to attend investigation, questioning, and to answer summons showed disregard for constitutional order and the law of the land. And so I think Yoon needs to be careful. But given his past history and conduct, it's unlikely that he will comply with the summons. I think he will have to be forcibly removed and forcibly made to attend any investigation questioning.
Well, does that mean he's taking the risk of even being arrested? Is that possible?
Absolutely. And in fact, I think that he might even be counting on being arrested and possibly, appearing sort of kind of being taken against his will by force, kicking and screaming. And that kind of image will, again, act as another kind of incitement to his supporters. So maybe he's aiming for that. But I hope that the law enforcement authorities will not let that kind of image, run on screen, and will do it more carefully than that.
Maybe it's a strategic move by Yoon. All right, Professor Jo, thanks so much for sharing your insights with us this morning. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
With a little over a month until U.S. President-elect Donald Trump takes office, there are concerns over whether South Korea will be able to strengthen relations with the U.S. Speaking to reporters at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida on Monday, his first news conference since election victory 6 weeks ago, Trump said he's willing to cooperate with leaders from countries including China, Russia, and Japan. Trump also called Chinese President Xi Jinping a friend and said that a meeting with Japan's Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru could take place before his inauguration. But he made no mention of South Korea, raising speculation that Washington may bypass Seoul after Trump takes office in January. For the 20th straight year, UN General Assembly has adopted a resolution on human rights in North Korea, condemning its systematic and widespread human rights violations. Lee Seung-ja has the details.
The UN General Assembly on Tuesday adopted a resolution condemning North Korea's systematic and widespread human rights violations. And this year's adoption marked the 20th straight year that the UN General Assembly has done so. This year's resolution emphasized the need for the international community to address the human rights situation in North Korea in a unified manner, while expressing concerns over the regime's declaration that the pursuit of reunification with South Korea had ended. The resolution also requests the UN General Assembly's president to hold a high-level meeting to hear testimony from members of civil society and various experts to address the human rights violations and abuses in North Korea. It also included repeated calls for North Korea to end practices and laws that suppress freedom of thought, expression, and religion. And as they have each year, North Korea responded to the passage of the resolution, referring to the regime with anger. North Korea's ambassador to the UN, Kim Sung, said that the North condemns in the strongest terms and totally rejects the draft resolution submitted by the European Union. He called it a grave politically motivated provocation aimed at violating the dignity and sovereignty of its state. Kim also called the resolution nothing but a political plot and an anti-North Korean confrontational document that was completely fabricated with falsehood and distorted information by hostile forces. The UN General Assembly has adopted the resolution on North Korean human rights annually since 2005 to shed light on the regime's human rights violations and to renew calls for Pyongyang to tackle the issue. However, no progress has been made as the resolution is not legally binding under international law. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
And the U.S. has sanctioned 2 individuals and 1 entity for their role in laundering illicit funds generated by North Korean IT workers in cybercrime. According to the U.S. Treasury Department on Tuesday, the department's Office of Foreign Assets Control sanctioned 2 Chinese individuals and a UAE-based front company called Green Alpine Trading. The department accuses them of running money laundering and cryptocurrency conversion services that funneled money to Pyongyang. The Treasury Department vowed to continue disrupting the networks that facilitate the flow of such funds to the north.
Good morning, I'm Kim Xiang, and this is The World Now. Now, a senior U.S. military official said on Tuesday that North Korean forces have suffered several hundred casualties fighting against the Ukrainian military in Russia's Kursk region. The U.S. official, who spoke to AFP and Reuters under condition of anonymity, said that several hundred casualties is the U.S. military's latest estimate, and that those numbers include everything from light wounds up to being killed in action. Now, the official added that all ranks are among the North Korean casualties, and that the high number of casualties is likely because these are not battle-hardened troops. The U.S. official's comments come a few days after Ukraine's commander-in-chief, Oleksandr Syrsky, said Russia has been deploying North Korean troops in an intensive offensive in Russia's Kursk region. Previously, the Pentagon has said that North Korea has sent some 10,000 troops to Russia in support of its war against Ukraine. A high-ranking Russian general was killed by an explosion in Moscow early on Tuesday, an assassination claimed by Ukraine's security service. According to Russia's investigative committee, Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, head of Russia's nuclear, biological and chemical defense forces, and his assistant were killed by a remotely detonated improvised explosive device hidden in a scooter outside a Moscow residential block. Now, Kirillov is the most senior Russian military official to be killed since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A source in Ukraine's SBU security service told the BBC that Kirillov was a legitimate target after Ukrainian prosecutors charged the Russian general in absentia on Monday over the mass use of banned chemical weapons during its invasion of Ukraine. The Ukrainian government is yet to officially comment on the assassination. Now, the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, said on Tuesday that Moscow must find the killers, adding that Ukraine will face revenge. Moving over to the U.S., A Manhattan grand jury has indicted Luigi Mangione on Tuesday with murder charges over the death of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The charges include killing as an act of terrorism. The indictment says Mangione faces 11 counts, including murder in the first degree, 2 counts of murder in the second degree, one of which includes a terrorism charge, alongside other forgery and weapon charges. Now, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg said at a news conference on the same day that this was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder, and that the accusation of terrorism was due to the shooting taking place in most bustling parts of our city, threatening the safety of local residents and tourists alike. Now, 26-year-old Mangione has been denied bail and is scheduled to appear for a court hearing on December 19th. In India, over 100 couples were married in a mass marriage ceremony in the country's western city of Surat on Monday. Now, this special event was organized by Indian businessman Mahesh Savani to give orphaned girls a chance to tie the knot. It catered to the religions of the total of 111 couples, and relatives and friends were also invited to join. Savani has married off more than 900 disadvantaged girls since 2008.
Hope you're dressed extra warmly today. Most regions had the coldest temperatures of the season so far this morning, and the wind chill factor dragged down the feels-like temperatures to below -9 degrees Celsius in the capital. A cold wave advisory is in place for northern parts of Gyeonggi-do and Gangwon-do provinces. And on top of that, wet clouds are dropping snow and freezing rain to Chungcheong-namdo and Jeollado provinces, as well as Jeju Island. Ulleungdo and Dokdo are seeing massive amounts of snowfall, with a heavy snow advisory being issued. And their snow could be falling down up to 20 centimeters into tomorrow. East Coast regions could see 3 to 10 centimeters of heavy snowfall. Bundle up and be safe. Meanwhile, temperatures will be extra cold even with a lot of sunshine in the capital, with a high of 1 degree Celsius, but feels like temperatures will be below freezing all day. Daegu, Gyeongju make it to 4 degrees. Cold weather should ease tomorrow afternoon, with more rain and snow in the forecast across much of Korea. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.